eclipses. The current transit of the eclipses is a very interesting one, and let us check out what it holds for all the Lagnas. But before going into the Lagnas, let us see what astronomically eclipses mean, and on a wider base, astrologically, what this is all about, how it affects the entire population. Astronomically, an eclipse is the interposition of a dark celestial body between the luminous one and the eye, or the passing of the luminous body into the shadow of the dark one, such that its view is obstructed. This alignment of the three celestial bodies is also known as zeniths. In astrology, zeniths is the straight line configuration of three or more celestial bodies in a particular gravitational system. There are generally two eclipses happening in one season, one on the full moon day and the other on the new moon day. However, sometimes there are also three eclipses like this time which happen in one particular season. Eclipses of the sun always happen at the new moon, and that of new moon always happen on the full moon day. Eclipses of the sun always come from the west and pass on to the east, while that of the moon come from the east and pass on to the west. Transits are important part of astrology. Transit points are very important because the planet transiting a particular planet or a particular sensitive point tends to activate that point. When we take the case of eclipse, the eclipse gets activated when the ecliptical point gets activated when a planet transits over this ecliptical point. For example, we would see in the coming case that a retrograde Mars would be the one transiting that ecliptical point, and we would see what effect that holds for all the Lagnas also. Similarly, when Mercury or Venus, Jupiter or Saturn transits that point, they too would have a very strong effect on the native, on mundane astrology, and also they would be having an effect on the native as regards to the houses they own and the place they are posited in, not to mention the karakas that they hold in their jurisdiction. The time of impact of an eclipse depends upon the number of hours of its obscuration. For example, for the sun, it depends on the number of hours is related to the number of years. That is, as many hours of obscuration, as many years that eclipse will hold an impact on the individual. As for the moon, it depends upon the obscuration and relates to the number of months. So if there is an obscuration of 2 hours for the moon, then the time period or the effect and implication of the lunar eclipse will be of 2 months. The sign also holds a lot of value when this eclipse is taking place. The movable signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn leave an impact which is far brief as compared to the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarius. For the fixed signs of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces, the impact felt, that is, when the eclipse happens to be in these signs, the impact felt is far greater. Also, if the eclipse happens to be in a trine from the Lagna or the moon, then this eclipse happens to be very beneficial, provided there is a benefic aspect on this eclipse taking place. If it is happening in your 1, 4, 7, 10, that is in one of the kendras or the quadrants in your chart, it could prove a little challenging, especially if it is from both the Lagna and the moon. Also, if this eclipse takes place in conjunction or opposition to your natal sun, moon or any malefic planet, then it proves to be a little challenging, and if it is in trine to the sun, moon and or in conjunction with a benefic, then it is definitely going to give you good results. Planets that become stationary while crossing that ecliptical points hold much greater significance and activate far great intense reactions and events in the life of the native than those planets that are just direct. Or in this respect, Mercury relates to intellectual life, mental facilities, business, trade and commerce, and general activities. Venus here relates to domestic life and social affairs, and also sisters, and can also represent any lady figure in life. Mars indicates brothers, Jupiter indicates uncles and children, and Mercury is the representative of aunts too. Sun, as we all know, represents father, and Moon is represented by mother. Let us now move on to specific eclipses. The first eclipse of the three to take place would be in the sign of Gemini in the nakshatra of Punarvasu in the third pada on 13th of July 2018. A solar eclipse is an eclipse that takes place when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, and it fully or partially blocks the paths or the rays of the sun. This partial eclipse will be visible from very few locations on land. People in some part of southern Australia, including those in Adelaide and Melbourne, will be able to see some small fraction of the eclipse. A majority of this partial eclipse of the sun will take place over the Pacific and Indian Oceans. The eclipse will also be seen from a very small part of the northern Antarctica. The Punarvasu Nakshatra and the Pushya Nakshatra will both be affected by this eclipse. It is advised for the people who have key planets in this nakshatra to pray for the well-being of these two nakshatras, and also pray to the deities of these two nakshatras for protection and their own well-being too. For the do's and don'ts of this eclipse, please watch out the space at the last of this video. The do's and don'ts of the eclipses have been discussed in detail in that part. The total lunar eclipse in Cancer Capricorn axis on the 27th of July takes place in Uttara Ashara Nakshatra. A lunar eclipse occurs when the moon passes directly behind Earth and into its shadow. This can occur only when the sun, Earth and the moon are aligned in a straight line and very closely so, and this can occur only in a full moon night. The type and the length of the eclipse depends on the moon's proximity to either of the nodes or its orbit. Lunar eclipses can be visible from anywhere on the night side of the earth, more so if the skies are clear. From some places the entire eclipses can be seen, whereas from some places the partial eclipse can be easily visible. During this eclipse, the regions from where some of part of the eclipse can be seen is much of Europe, much of Asia, Australia, Africa, South and North America, South America, Pacific Atlantic, Indian Ocean and Antarctic. So that covers quite a big range, quite a huge zone. Just like this eclipse will have a great impact, this eclipse can be seen from a lot of places too. The lunar eclipse that is going to take place on the 27th of July is of great importance. It is so because this eclipse takes place on an axis where not only Rahu-Ketu and Sun Mars are involved, but a retrograde planet Mars too is involved. Mars we know is energy, and retrograde Mars an internalized energy. Mars is conjunct Moon right there on the same degree, and so it would be crossing the point of the eclipse right during its retrograde motion, and when it turns direct it would make a journey through this point all over again. So the significations of Mars that would be activated in all the charts is not to be taken very lightly. Retrograde Mars signifies inner struggle, inherent anger, sexual issues and desperate need to prove oneself. Mars traveling over the point of the eclipse intensifies, especially so during its movement in the 10th house of the natural zodiac, because in this house it gets Digbali, that is directional strength, and also it gets exalted in this house. Mars, when retrograde, creates frustrations and delays in our professional life, and that could lead to unwanted tensions. But if we take an approach which will help us realize that if we just set out to do our work and continuously work without thinking about the consequences or the results, we are likely to reach a point where the work would have nothing else but to yield results, and that is a fact. A lot of fact would be revealed to us on a later date. These facts are hidden from us at the moment because of the shadow of the eclipse, wherein a lot of things get covered or hidden. Once the shadow is lifted, once the eclipse season is over, we would come to know of so many things and revelations that would actually help us in our lives ahead. Breakdown in communications and feelings of secrecy may be heightened. Things may seem muddled or hidden due to the eclipse effect, and they will come to light around 20th of September. Ironically, around the next full moon phase, after direct Mars crosses this point of eclipse. With the eclipse operating in the movable signs this time, especially for the powerful lunar eclipse, it may, to the best for us, not have a very lasting effect. However, people with movable lagnas, that is Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, or people having their moon in movable lagna may feel this eclipse to be a little challenging, but it would definitely be worth their while in the long run. So let us take into account what this eclipse will have for all the lagnas, starting from Capricorn lagna. For the Capricorn lagna, it would be best to avoid emotional entanglements and issues with land and mother. Keep your head low during confrontations with spouse and child, and let it pass like pouring water over duck's back, and you would have learnt a lesson of the eclipse, that is, the lesson that this eclipse was meant to teach you. For the Aquarius Lagna, this eclipse is the best time to practice meditation, as the subconscious mind is activated and gravitates towards the metaphysical and connects you with the universe. Keeping a lid on your words, especially in the workplace, will take you places and will show benefits on a later date. For the Pisces Lagna, it is advisable not to anticipate your incomes in advance or feel under weather due to elderly interventions. It is time to embrace what elders have to say, even though they may not feel like offering an explanation for the same. On long run, you are likely to benefit by their helpful advices and deeds. For the Aries Lagna, the Aries Lagna are likely to find peace and solitude in work and other places only through meditation. Many issues as regards fundings or loans that you may have taken up will come to surface, and you may feel the need to break free from these challenges you face at work. Patience and persistence are the key words for you. You can draw the number 8 to get an equilibrium of your inner self. It helps. For the Taurus Lagna, the eclipse occurring in your trine for you gives you a great chance for higher learning. It takes you on to a level of learning that is difficult on a normal basis. More so, this energy is very difficult to attain and to tap on a regular basis. Try directing the energy of the eclipse into those levels and see a new change taking place in your outer and inner worlds. For the Gemini Lagna, watch out for your sexual behavior, for it may create problems later, while your intense spiritual practices would be rewarded in unusual ways. Keeping a low profile and a non-judgmental view about your contacts will be best for your peace of mind. Let things evolve. For the Cancer Lagna, it is advisable to let go of control and try to bring about coordination in your workplace. Things which seem to be up in the air and regressed will find its reasons as time goes by. When feeling tensed and lethargic, do breathing exercises. It will help you restore the mental balance and your energies. For the Leo Lagna, eclipse in your 6th house gives you time to set discipline and priorities in life as it relates to your authority, power, application of intelligence also. Don't let your feelings of frustrations with authority and power bog you down. Continue with your good work as Mars crosses this point of eclipse in its journey back direct, then it will bring you the required freedom. Good health habits should be meticulously followed to ensure carefree health zone during the next 2 months. For the Virgo Lagna, if you feel that your contacts are a little distant or that you are losing your celebrity status, do not fret. Once Mars goes direct, a lot of things will come to your notice and you might just be very thankful for it. Please use your contacts well to augment your finances. It is also time to avoid any confrontations with in-laws or spouse and siblings. If possible, please pay heed to their warnings and talks. For the Libra Lagna, it is time to take care of your homeland, family and emotional securities. Some disturbing facts about public life and relations may find its way into your notice. Ignore such issues and be peaceful in your mind and know that they will bring about a revelation on a later date. Get entangled into them and your emotional well-being will be in a sorry state for 2 months. The choice is yours. You may come to certain revelations about your workplace within a month. Observe but do not react. It is difficult but will be very helpful on the long run. For the Scorpio Lagna, best to use the energies of the eclipse for spiritual attainment and retention of habits which lead you on to a higher frequency. Using your energy to gossip would lower your vibrations and directing them to a higher level through sadhana would yield you great results. You might receive the blessings of your elders also in this path. You are likely to see sudden changes in life. It is advised that you keep a check on your family finances and also on the loan that you have met out to people. In the coming 2 months, avoid speculative activities and also keep a check on your romantic inclinations. The next visible eclipse would be on the 11th August, that is a partial solar eclipse in the sign of Cancer all over again. This partial solar eclipse will be visible from northern and eastern Europe, northern parts of North America and some northern and western locations in Asia, making it the most watched solar eclipse of 2018. In this eclipse, we see 2 retrograde planets very much under the influence on the ecliptical axis. Mars and Mercury, both retrograde, happen to be with Rahu, Sun and Moon and Ketu respectively. That is, Mars is associated with Ketu and Mercury here is associated with Moon, Sun and Rahu. Within the 5 degrees proximity of Sun and Moon, Mercury here is the planet would be affected to a great degree. It will cross the point of conjunction of the Sun and Moon during its direct motion. It is likely to have effect on the communication and health systems the world over, especially in the areas where it is visible. On a personal level, we need to be aware of our health and be careful about our speech. Also, we need to be able to assimilate things, remain non-judgmental and not let the energies of the retrograde planets bog us down. It is also advisable not to be rough with the household staff. Do's and don'ts during the eclipse. Giving alms to the poor is considered a very big benefit during the eclipse. One should take a bath at the beginning of the eclipse and should take another bath right at the end of the eclipse. During the eclipse, one is advised to sit down at one place and do mantra japa or meditation. This takes us on to a different spiritual level. Food which has been cooked can be protected by a tulsi leaf or the dhruva grass. The tulsi leaf, because of its healing benefits, makes the food consumable and the dhruva grass absorbs negative energies of the eclipse. We must offer water to the deceased souls. This is the day when the energies of the Pitris are very much in the vibration and our ancestors bless us for what we have done for them. Moving on to the don'ts. It is generally said that 9 hours before the eclipse is the time when you should stop eating. Drinking of water is also prohibited. If possible, one should not be traveling during the eclipse. Especially for pregnant women, they advise not to go out during the eclipse or to see the sun or the moon. It is also advised that they remain in the confinement of the rooms or the houses and always have a nariyal, that is a coconut, next to them to absorb the energies of the eclipse. This coconut can then be left in the flowing water as a remedial. It is advised not to get entangled in sexual activities during these hours. A baby conceived during this time is not good for the family. On a higher note, these eclipses open channels within the system, that is, they open internal channels, as there are at least 2 retrograde planets on any given day of these 3 eclipses. Great for inner contemplation on all 3 counts, especially for those who have a goal to achieve. Pray during the eclipse to get yourself on a higher spiritual vibrations where you emanate an energy that will see your material goals being fulfilled too. Get your inner voice into such a level that it emanates all around you. May the forces be with us and may we be truly guided. If you want to read the whole article, please visit my blog at www.anuradhasharda.com to read the entire article, and please do leave in your reviews. Till we meet again, have a nice day, stay safe.